So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. I'm currently filling my truck up with diesel extortion fluid. Melissa and I are going on a little trip tomorrow. We'll actually be back before you see this video. You're going to see this video on Saturday, but tomorrow morning we are headed to Upper Michigan. Never been there before. I hear it's really nice, and we should have a really good video. I mean, a good one. Banger of a video tomorrow on our trip. What we're doing, I'm not going to spoil it, but we're going to get something for the cabin, and we're going to see how it's made, and it should be pretty cool. It really should. I think it's about a 7-hour drive from here. I just filled up the truck and I am low on DEF fluid, and I got a lot to do today before we leave tomorrow. Nothing, you know, that you just have to get done. It's just, for me, I like to have everything in order before I leave. Things like just cutting the grass, cleaning up. I might do some work down at the pond. That's not necessary, but it's nice and dry, so I might do that today. We'll just see what we get into, but I want to show you something before we get going here. This is Melissa's Yukon. It's sitting in the shade right now, but so many of you recommended getting it ceramic coated, and we did. And so far, I mean, it looks really nice. It does. Once it rains and gets dirty, I want to see how well it cleans up. But they did the windows, the wheels, the whole exterior. If I'm happy with it, then I think I'm going to get my truck done as well. I do. I got a question for you guys. I wasn't even going to bring this up, but I'm just going to do it right now. We bought this a couple months ago. Okay, we traded the GMC 3500, the AT4, and the Bronco. We weren't using the Bronco. It was sitting in the garage, and we traded both of them on this. It was the first time I felt that I ever made out buying a new vehicle, because we actually came home with a check and a new car. But anyway, the day we brought this home, I noticed something. I don't know if you can see it on camera. There's a little crinkle right here, and you'd never see it if it wasn't black, and it's like a little dent from the inside. Definitely something that happened you know, at the factory, and it's really small. I mean, there's not much to it, but the first day we got it, I brought it home, I saw that, and I'm like, I don't know. So I called the salesman, you know what I mean? So I said, hey, we just got home and I noticed a little ding on the fender. It looked like it came from the inside out, probably when the vehicle was being made. And he said, oh, okay. And that happens sometimes. He says, call the service department and set up an appointment. So we called the service department and we set up an appointment. And before that appointment happened, Melissa was actually having trouble with the screen in this Yukon. Something to do with the GPS. It just got locked into place. And there was some update or something. So anyway, we take it for that and to get the fender looked at. And they looked at the screen. They thought they got it going, which they didn't. And we asked him about the fender. He said, oh, you need to make an appointment with the body shop on that. And that was what the first appointment was for. And to me, it just seemed like they were just kind of passing the buck and hoping this all kind of went away. And honestly, they probably won, because here we are 2 months later. And we had called about it again, and it just never worked out. You know, you get busy, and I don't know if I should even care about it, but part of me, it bothers me that they just kind of blew it off. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to give them a call again. I do. And not because of the dent itself, but because they just kind of kept passing the buck and blew us off on it. You know what I mean? So Melissa just came out. She was wondering why I was standing by her car, but yeah. We really like the vehicle.
Oh yeah.
But the three things, I would say three things. Okay. The screen is a little bit
Right.
wonky at times.
Yeah.
Gets a little quirky. But to be fair, does the same thing in my Super Duty.
Yeah.
Sometimes you put it in reverse, and if you're on a phone call, it will lose
Yeah.
the call. All those screens, they're great when they work, but all that
Right.
stuff. The other thing that I can't figure out about this, the windshield gets fogged up a little bit when you're running
Yeah.
like the air conditioning on a humid day. And what's weird is the GMC truck, exact same
Right.
thing.
It
My
was.
Ford does not do that. So there's that, and then I'm not thrilled about the tiny little ding on the fender. It's not the ding on the fender. It's the fact that they just kind
No
of...
one wanted to really take care of it.
Yeah,
The
they just-
salesman said talk to service. Service said talk to the salesman.
Just a lot of passing the
Eventually-
buck.
I got out of the service guy that we don't handle that. You have to call the body shop. I'm like,
We already did that once.
okay. But
Yeah.
then the software they used was hijacked.
Yeah, it
Held
was
for ransom. For like a couple weeks.
yeah, all
They
the
couldn't sell cars, fix cars, nothing.
yeah, their system that they use, it's nationwide. What'd they say? Like a third of the dealers went through this
Yeah.
thing where they couldn't use anything in their system. They couldn't sell cars. It's just technology. You know what I mean? But overall, we really like the car. We do. It's just a couple little things that little quirky. And I told them if this thing really does what I think it will when it gets dirty, I'm going to get my truck done.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah. I'm happy with it. And they did the windows and the wheels too. So that is supposed to help the fogging up.
The other thing the
From what I
GMC has over the Ford is no brake dust on the wheels. Ford uses that garbage brake pads.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough rambling. I got to get busy.
Oh, okay.
The one thing that we really like about this, sounds great. It does. Yeah, if that ceramic coating makes it easier to keep clean, this would be a good candidate for it. Probably should have had it done as soon as I got it. It's about a year old, but there's not really any marks on it yet. I just cleaned out the Brio. Kind of feeling like a fire. Plus we're going to have some burgers for lunch. That won't be for a little bit, but we'll get a fire going. Also, we have fire starter available. We put it on the website last week, and we let everybody know that has signed up for our newsletter. But I'm letting you guys know today, fire starter is available. There'll be a link in the description, and I'll pin a comment as well. But I'm going to show you how good this stuff works. All I did was put one small handful in the center there, leave a little bit of air gap above it, and just load it up. And then I can go on to doing something else, and it'll take care of itself. Out of all the fires that I've started in our wood stove or in this Brio pit or the Solo stove that we used to have, I have never had the fire starter not work once. Not one time. It has worked every single time. So we have the 1.75 pound bags, 2 for $25, and we have a box of 10 for $120 plus shipping. And I'll be honest, we have sold a lot of the big boxes. And I was wondering, what are people doing with that much fire starter? Because like one bag, a 1.75 pound bag, you can start easily 25, more like 30 fires, whether it be in your wood stove or your insert or your brio pit or whatever. So one bag, 30 fires. People are buying boxes of 10, but I think I figured out what they're doing with it. I had a friend stop over yesterday, and he is a anesthesiologist, and he bought 5 bags. And I said, you know, I'm happy to sell him 5 bags, but I'm like, what are you doing with this much fire starter? He said they went camping with some friends, and they loved it. All his friends did, and they wanted some. So a lot of people are giving it away as gifts or whatever. If you're, you know, at a campground with your friends, the stuff works fantastic, and then other people want it, so people buy it, give it, especially around the holidays and stuff. Anybody with a wood stove or whatever, it's just a good fit. But anyway, link in the description, pin comment as well. And also, don't forget, sign up for our newsletter. All you do is go to outdoorswiththemorgans.com. There will be a pop-up comes up. Enter your email, and you will be signed up for our newsletter. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes thing, a look back, a look ahead, and also when we have like fire starter available, we'll let you know with that as well. I just realized something. Today's video is a little different than most. Normally we kind of get right into it, but it's just kind of a relaxed day, and I have been wanting to go over some of this stuff, and I always forget when I'm doing some project or something. So today's video, we're not getting a whole lot done yet, but we're covering a lot of topics. So out here in the front yard, right over there used to be kind of a landscape bed, and I need to fix that up. But those yellow jackets, they love that exposed dirt like that. They're everywhere. I don't know if you can see that or not. You see that hole right there? I mean, they are just fighting to get in and out of that hole. There's not much in here. Here they come. So somebody told me something the other day about these Cub Cadet mowers that made a lot of sense, and I tend to agree with them. He said that these mowers, you know, the ones with the steering wheel, are what saved Cub Cadet, and I have to agree with them. I do. I think they were kind of on their way out. There are so many companies that make a zero-turn mower, and you know, many of them use the same components. So at that point, it just kind of gets down to price and brand loyalty. And it's a very, very competitive market. But these ones with the steering wheel, that was a really good idea. And you know what? I am starting to see more and more of these on trailers, you know, that are owned by guys that do mowing commercially. And you didn't see Cub Cadets before, you know, mowing commercially very often like you do now. But I'm seeing these ones a lot around here. Now, if you are a flatlander, they're probably not as popular because you don't need the steering wheel unless you are on hills. And this thing, I'm telling you, I've said it before, and I got nothing in it. I bought this mower like anybody else, not sponsored, not partnered, anything. This handles the hills far better than any zero turn that I have ever used, and I've used a lot of them. There's a lot of nice mowers out there, but these things here are the ticket. They really are, if you've got hills. Trying to figure out where that squeak's coming from. I know it's coming from that front idler, but I don't think it's the idler itself. I think it's a noise. I think it's coming from the tracks on the idler. I'm not sure. I got to figure that out. All right, so I got the mini skid put away. Very seldom do I actually put this away because we use it all the time. I got the grass all cut. I got a whole bunch of stuff done today, actually. Got the truck hooked up to the trailer. We're ready to pull out first thing in the morning, and I think I'm actually caught up. So we're going to head down to the pond. Before we do, I always like to just stop and look at this, you know? Look how pretty that is. Beautiful, beautiful red oak. A lot of heat right here. So I cannot believe how this pile has dried out. I mean, it's still wet, but when I dug this out of the pond, this is just 2 days ago, I think, it was just sopping wet. And you pull it out of the ground and pile it up, and the water just drains right out of it. You can tell just by looking at it, and also by the weight of it. I'm getting these massive buckets out of here. It's a 30-inch bucket. And if it was still wet like it was, you could feel it when you are, you know, swinging real far and reaching out. But I have to handle this stuff a couple times to get it up out of here. But I think it's actually going to work a little bit better than what I thought. I'm going to get a little bit more out of here, and then I'll show you what the game plan is. This is one of those projects where kind of as time allows, you know what I mean? If you have a couple hours, I'll come down here and dig some more of this out of here. But there was a lot more sediment and silt in here than what I thought. I took at least 3 feet out so far, that one side over there. It's already filled up with water, but it's not running over yet, so I'm not sure exactly where it's going. But looking at this, what I'm doing right now, I think this will be a pretty good system. You dig a bunch out, let it dry a day or two, and then move it up top the rest of the way. Because what happens is you get dirt bound so fast, you run out of room, and when you're digging it out and it's real wet, it just wants to all kind of slide back down the hill. But if you keep the piles manageable, yeah, like I said, this is really, really dry. Drier, I should say. And by the way, the other day, I was talking about this pond. You know, I don't know when it was built originally, but I redid it, and I thought it was like 8-10 years ago. I wasn't sure. And I found the pictures, and they had dates. It was 2009 when I, you know, dug this all out before. And that was with an old Cat 215 excavator that I got from my employer back in my blasting days. One thing I did now, or one thing that I did that I wish I didn't, right where this pile's sitting, I dug a little bit of natural ground out of here because I was planning on benching out and going out like this way over here, you know, sideways. But doing that, I still can't reach to the other side. I should have left that material in there, but I think the way this stuff's drying, I should be able to dig a little bit more of this out, leave some here, and start just kind of bridging out over top of that muck down in the pond. Need to get out there about 50 feet, and then I can reach to the other side. Doesn't sound like much, but it is. After I do this, I can go back down there, dig a little bit more out of the back, and put it right where this pile was, let it dry out. But this stuff here, I can get most of this now with the skid loader. That'll move these piles quick. It's just hard to do when it's down over the side of the hill like this. You end up in your nose in the water. And I don't want to do that. Come along. We're going to ramp down a little bit. Not too much. Just enough to where I kind of feel comfortable. I think it'll work. A long way to go, but it's starting to make sense. Get this muck out of here as far as I can reach. Yeah, it's pretty steep here. See how she feels. This machine's pretty stable. Much more so than like the ones that are like 8,000 pounds. I mean, they're not bad either, but when you're working on these slopes like this is a nice size. I think, my opinion, the 57 is more stable than the 80, the bigger one. The 80, in my opinion, is better suited for like municipal work or like sewer lines where you're sitting on relatively flat ground. You know what I'm saying? Where this one climbs around the hills, it's balanced really nice. Let's go back up. We'll take another bite and get this ramp a little bit better. We'll start way up here. The farther you start up, the flatter you can make it. We're not going to make it flat, but less steep. Window is fogging up a little bit from the air conditioner, like that GMC I mentioned earlier. All right, although my plan has changed, I think it's going to be good. I do. I've got nice material in here. Next time I come down, I'll bring the skid loader down here, start cutting this down. You can see where I'm ramping myself out there. This is starting to tighten up a little bit right here. I'm going to turn slightly, and I need to get out there about another 25 feet. If I can sit out there, I can reach that other side over there and start pulling all that stuff back. That's the toughest part over there. If I get that out of there, all the water will be running on that side, and I can just pull this out pretty easily on both sides here. But yeah, that's going to work out good. I mentioned the other day, this sediment, you know, this has been 3 or 4 years worth, I guess. And what it does, the water runs out over top of it, drops the sediment, and it keeps doing that. And eventually the entire pond will be filled in. So I'm just trying to buy some time here. I'll get this done. I'll put a new drain pipe on the other side, and that should buy me 6 or 7 years of time down here at least, depending on the weather. But you can see what I took out of here the other day. It's already filled up. Hasn't started running over yet, but yeah. I don't think it's supposed to rain, so when we get back from our trip, I'll come back down here. But if the weather stays like it is, and I get this ramp down in here, I can get this all done in a day. All cleaned out. No problem. One full day. But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. Don't forget, fire starter is available. There'll be a link in the description. Got a bug in my eye and a pinned comment as well. Hope you have a great day. We'll catch you on the next one.